Well, listeners, there is a brand new short film going around at the moment that is getting a lot of traction and a lot of talk online. And we thought we wanted to get to know a little bit more about this new film. It's called The Delicate Cycle. And we thought we would get writer, director, producer Katherine King on the phone right now to chat a little bit about this amazing new short film. Welcome to the program, Katherine.
Hi, thanks so much for having me on.
No worries. So, Catherine, tell us a little bit about The Delicate Cycle. This is such an amazing short film. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about where this journey first started with you. Where did the idea first come from?
Oh, the idea first came from me riding my bicycle around Santa Monica, California, where I live. And I would pass by a certain laundromat quite often. And of course, creative mind that I am, for some reason, I started thinking about what kind of people may have friendships in a laundromat, what kind of people go to a laundromat, and what would happen if you meet a stranger there and strike up a conversation.
Awesome.
So that's where it was started.
Was there something about the laundromat that you were seeing that kind of made it stand out for you, or was it just the general theme of a laundromat in general that kind of attracted you to the project?
Well, there's something in the film, and that's a video game, um, an old-fashioned kind of, standing up video game, Mrs. Pac-Man to be
Yeah.
precise. And that did give me the idea because it was very nostalgic, and, obviously kids play video games, and I started to imagine a father and son going into the laundromat to play the video game, just kind of on their walk, and they would pop in. And then, as you've watched the film now, you know how the story goes. The kid in the movie, that's exactly what he does. He pops in to play this video game, remembering some fun times with his dad.
Yeah. So I guess that leads to the next question. Where did the idea for these characters come about? Adam and Lance are such strong characters in this film. Where did the idea for those characters come from, and how then did you start to work out the storyline of this film?
Yeah, thanks so much for that. And it came from some different men and boys in my life, and just kind of observing them as a lady, looking in from the outside, and just how they relate to each other and everything. Maybe a little bit more joking, a little bit more, talking about girls, or how to do cool things that would attract girls' attention, and just, it's really my perspective as a female, just trying to pick the brain and see how guys relate, really.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of that in this film. Is the older man, Lance, who the boy meets in there. They're total strangers. They kind of strike up a little friendship, which could be, loosely sort of a mentor or father figure. And he plays the video game with them, and he also shows them a few different fun things. And this all really came from me just wanting to just observe that, and also specifically maybe a little bit of the it's mostly a fun movie, I think, but it does touch a bit on the struggles that can happen in custody situations and all that, and just how that would affect a man or a boy, whether they would talk about it directly or whether they would just, kind of joke it off. So just thought processes like that.
Definitely. Now, I wanted to ask a little bit more about something that you touched on there, because we have a lot of screenwriters that listen to this show, and a lot of young screenwriters listen to this show. When you're writing characters based on the opposite sex, do you have any tips for screenwriters out there on what they should look for, how they should approach that? Because I found it was something that was rarely touched on in film school here, which I thought was really interesting. But how do you approach that, writing for male characters as a female writer?
Oh, this is such a great question, and it totally plays specifically into this script and this film, which I've also directed. So I really had that one-two, writing it and directing it, as far as
Yeah.
my thought process. So I'm also an actress, and I had read a lot of scripts that I was auditioning for, or in, or what have you. So there was a whole thought process for me on, male writers writing female parts that didn't feel authentic to me.
Yep.
And that's a whole topic that's been explored. I'm not the first one. And so I'm always trying to challenge myself as a writer and as a creative person. And so I thought to myself, you know what? Instead of just complaining about that, how about if I turn that around on myself? Can I accurately and authentically write a male role? So I love your question because that was a very specific intention of mine, my own creative challenge to myself. And as far as advice goes, would be, it's really not too complicated. It's just be a good observer.
Yep.
There's people all around you, maybe your own relationships or even people in cafes, and it would be just as if you were an actor preparing for a role. It's the same mentality. You're very observant. You just pick up on little nuances, especially if someone's different than you, a different gender or
yep.
different social status or anything, then all of those ways that are different than you, if you're paying attention, are going to pop out and intrigue you.
Yep.
As opposed to writing off of stereotypes and assumptions and things like that. Just engage in the creative joy of observing real human beings. They are fascinating.
Yeah, I find people watching on public transport great. I have a 90-minute train trip every day that I have to do for work, and I use that time to observe people, and I think a lot of people that I've seen on the train over the years have ended up popping up in my screenplays. So yeah, I don't know if that's something that you do as well, but yeah, it's something I certainly find interesting.
That's the writer's ultimate revenge, is that, you might end up in their screenplay.
Yep. So going on to the next step now, tell us a little bit about the casting, because it feels like you got the casting 100% right on this film.
Oh, I'm so glad you feel that way. I also am just thrilled completely with my cast. This is my first film that I've directed. I've written a lot of things, but it's the first thing I directed, so it was a new experience for me. I have cast plays as well, but this was my first film, and I am surprised and shocked at how well it all came together. I just right away I knew who I was looking for. I even had them in the cast that you see in the film is the first combination in the audition, and I said, I want these three together.
Yep.
I want to see how they work together, especially the Lance and Adam characters, and also Anita, and they were just my characters. What can I say? I felt like they popped right out to me as exactly what I wanted, what I imagined. Well, I will tell you a little funny story. Actually, Lance, which is played by Fred Mancuso, originally I was going for more. I had in my mind sort of a Santa Claus looking guy.
Yep.
Like an old guy with a big white beard or something.
Yep.
Probably based off of some real people that I had written the character off of. But I will say that Fred convinced me to cast differently. It was this warmth that he brought to the character while still kind of being a tough guy looking guy.
Yep.
But that I was looking for this warmth and quirkiness and this kind of surprisingness that I think was exactly Lance, is what I was looking for. That's how I wrote it. And then I would say Dean Norris Jr., he was just the boy that I was looking for, kind of a old-fashioned kind of vibe.
Yep.
That's how I would put it. I don't know how he thinks of himself, but that was my character.
Yeah.
And then Yasmin, she played Anita. Also, she was great. She was kind of at first judgmental and then kind of hilarious. So she had that serious and comical acting that I was looking for. So they made it easy.
Yep.
They just made it easy, and also I was very clear on my characters for myself. So in my mind, casting them was a pretty quick process.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about that experience. As you said, this was your first time directing. How did you find that experience? Was it your goal to direct this film from the very start, or did that happen along the process?
It was my goal to direct the film from the start. I wanted to try my hand at it.
Yep.
I've written for other people and all sorts of different situations, and I decided I have some, different experiences and different roles on a set, and I'd like to try the directing role, and I kind of considered it my own film school.
Yep.
I'm sure film school is very helpful, but I also feel like do it yourself is all very helpful for learning things, because you have to.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of experience I brought from writing and producing 5 plays, which I did all that before the pandemic, and so there were a lot of carryovers. There was the learning process of knowing to pick a really strong team.
Yep.
People that are good at things that I'm not good at or as knowledgeable at. And I would say, I knew that was extremely important in supporting me as a new director. And so I had Dave Hawes was my DP. He brought a ton of experience and also a lot of patience. And he's just a team player. And Renee Garcia, she was really mentoring me in the process, and she cast it, and she was just there for a lot of questions. And so I, on the one hand, was new, but on the other hand, I had a lot of other types of experience, and then I had a great team. And what I discovered was, as soon as I got on set, about 5 minutes into it, I was completely fine. It was just, you're nervous when you try anything new, but as soon as I stepped into it, I did honestly feel, oh, this is for me. This is very easy for me to do. I like bossing people around, I'm joking, but I mean, I had a strong vision. I knew what I wanted, and I had the right people that were there to make a great project. We had a great positive energy.
Yep.
I had plenty of support, and then it just all rolled through, and it happened.
That's amazing. I have to ask, you obviously filmed on location as well. Did you use the laundromat that you'd seen when you were cycling around?
Oh, wow, you have such great questions. I love it. No, because even though it was all nearby, I went to that laundromat, of course, at first, because I thought, well, this is where I imagined the story. They wanted to charge way too much. I was like, well, see, being in LA, they're used to these big studio prices. So I was like, okay, this is not going to work. And then then I found another laundromat that had very similar vibes. Actually, in Venice, just crossing over the line, Santa Monica and Venice are very close, and it had I think really, maybe it's like late 70s. I don't think they renovated since then kind of look, and I wanted that timeless look, and they had it too. But what they had was that it was a really nice family business that really worked with me, and I went over there like 5 or 6 times, just kind of begging and pleading, saying, look, I'm just a small time filmmaker from the neighborhood. I'm not coming in here with big studio money. And they believed me, thankfully, and gave me a great price. Not only that, but they were super patient with me because it was a night shoot. So we had to film when they were closed. So as the scene, if you pay attention right in the beginning of the film, I purposely show their hours. That's just creatively. It's because I wanted people to realize it's really early in the morning in my story. But anyway, their hours are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. So we had from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. to film. And wow, God bless everyone in the cast and crew for going through that experience with me. Two all-nighters. But everything went pretty well, but we did go a bit over time. And instead of somebody having their eye on their watch and just being like, sorry, goodbye, you have to stop here, or charging me more or anything, they were so kind and just said, we can stretch it a little longer, just clean up after yourself or whatever. I was so grateful for that.
Yeah, I love those companies that think when you're making a short film, you've got the same money, and the same budget as a big film. When I was starting out, I made a short film, and I did I thought I'll dot the I's, I'll cross the T's. I contacted my local council and said, oh, we're just going to film a quick scene outside this house on the footpath, and they said, oh, that'll be $30,000 to film outside for 15 minutes.
Wow, yeah, it's almost flattering,
Yeah.
but not really, that people don't know the difference between big Hollywood movies and smaller filmmakers.
Yeah.
I like the question as an actor or as a director. It's like, well, what movie have you done that I know? It's like there's different worlds that go on in filmmaking, and that may happen one day, but the average person on the street, it's interesting. They don't know the difference.
Yeah, yeah. Now, talking of things like that, of course, the film has already received an award, Best Short Film at the Chandler International Film Festival. What did that mean to you, and will you be looking to get the film into more film festivals as well?
Yes, it was so great. We went to the Chandler Film Festival in Arizona, and getting there was already so much fun because it's about a 6-hour drive from here in LA. And so quite a few people were able to come. We actually carpooled over, so we had a little road trip experience. We should have made a reality show out of that in itself, and stayed in a big house together while we attended this festival. And it was so amazing. So first of all, Dean Norris Jr. has a famous dad, which I didn't know when I cast him. So to his credit, I had no idea, but and so he got the role on his own. But he's got his dad, Dean Norris from Breaking Bad,
Yep.
who came out to support him at the festival.
Oh, wow.
That was so exciting, and honestly, it was exciting to see that everyone at the film festival wanted a picture with him, Dean Norris. He was the biggest celebrity there, and his son was in our film. But you know what? He's a good. I could tell without talking to him in depth. He's a good dad.
Yep.
Because his son is just so sweet and cute, and just really down to earth. So good job. He's not like some kind of sort of raised in Hollywood vibe kid.
Yeah.
He's down to earth, ready to do the job and everything. So anyways, we were at the festival, and we saw a lot of great films, and it was pretty amazing to win Best Short Film. That was awesome, and that was our world premiere.
Wow.
It was the first time I've shown it. So that's a pretty good response. I have to say, I didn't know what to expect. But I am proud of the film, and so I'm glad that they liked it too. And as far as other film festivals, I don't have any specifically yet, but I am planning to do quite a few here in a little bit, submit to some more of them, and definitely here in LA in my hometown, but I also want to do it, wherever, just different places, and just get the film seen.
Yep.
So that's going to be a whole further chapter.
Awesome. Well, Katherine, I want to say again, congratulations on the award win, and hopefully we might even get to see the film at some film festivals here in Australia as well, because we've got some pretty awesome festivals down here these days. So we would love to see the film down here. But I guess to finish off, what would you like to say to people out there who might have a chance to see The Delicate Cycle, but do you have any advice for filmmakers in general?
Yeah, I have plenty of advice. You just have to do your own thing. If filmmaking is not like a regular endeavor, it could follow many different paths. So, the best advice is to just be yourself, make really good friends that are also into the filmmaking journey, build your team, and write really great stories, and then just, you know, pray to the film gods for the luck part.